Mike, I think that's me. You let me in, right?
Yes, you're there. You can share.
Let's give that a shot.
It's going up right now.
Great. So we have Lisa and Peter here with us today to give a presentation on airport property zoning and planning. But before we do that, I just want to give a little recap on where we are and where we're going with respect to the airport. Let's see if I can. It doesn't seem right to me, Mike. Am I?
It's to your left on the screen. You see it?
Okay.
You're up.
All right.
It's broadcasting to the town. Everyone can see it. Great.
So early May, we had our presentation from HRNA and HOMH on the economic issues at the airport and the operations that have occurred over the last year or so. In the July work session, we heard from Professor Wobbles, who was giving us an assessment of sort of the contribution of carbon to the town's environment relative to the number of people who use the airport. I just want to say we've got a lot of really good comments, both through the board and through other avenues at the hearing or at the work session, for example. And that feedback is being taken into consideration by our consultants. As by way of example, there was a follow-up presentation at the AMAC meeting where there was a very helpful suggestion to take the analysis of the East Hampton Community Alliance with HRNA and kind of put them together just to make sure that they were using the same methodology. It turns out they actually are. They just have a little bit different inputs in terms of what is relevant for the economic analysis. So that work continues, and I'm sure we'll be back with an update soon. Today is the presentation on zoning and planning. This is really intended to give you a sense for what you can do within existing zoning regulations within the town. You know, obviously there are limitations on any sort of redevelopment, repurposing, or reuse of land. So that's something you're definitely going to want to take into consideration if considering any alternative uses for the airport. And so it's an excellent presentation. Worked very closely with Peter and Lisa and the town board to cover a lot of ground with that presentation. So I'm looking forward to it. Coming up after this work session, we're targeting early September. Might even be late August, but I think it's early September for a work session on the diversion study. That's been something that's been talked about quite a bit, and so we're doing a very robust diversion study. We're also going to do a survey. We've done surveys in the past. I think it's time to do another update, given some changes that have occurred over the last couple of years, and so we will have people out doing some survey work in August. And then really importantly, I heard some comments about this from the public session. There is going to be some very robust public engagement sessions over the airport. These are smallish groups where people can come in over a series of days to talk about the airport, get their feedback, and that engagement will be moderated by Peter and Lisa as well. Covered that with my explanation of what we're going to talk about on the property and zoning presentation, but just getting a sense for what's possible as an alternative is really the goal with this presentation. There's a little more detail on the diversion study and how we're going to approach it. It's focused on all the relevant East End airports with, of course, a special focus on Montauk. Really trying to get a handle on what would be the impacts at the Montauk Airport if there were to be changes at the East Hampton Airport. I know the town board feels very strongly about getting a good sense for what that might look like, and so that would be a special focus. I mentioned the survey. It's going to be over 2 weekends in August, and the purpose here is to test the assumptions from the economic report, and then I've covered the public engagement session and sort of the plan there. So I'll turn it over to Lisa and Peter, unless there's any questions from the town board for me at this point about where we are and where we're headed next in the process.